The Saturday farmers market was my one weekly ritual, a small slice of normal life. I was loading a crate of fresh produce into the trunk of my SUV when a kid, no older than 17, sauntered over. He had an air of unearned authority, like a prince inspecting the royal grounds. He pointed a thumb at my bags. "Hey, my mom's the head of the merchants committee here. We get a curation fee from the vendors. You should probably give me that crate to, show your support." I paused, halfway through lifting a bag of apples. "A curation fee? That's a new one. I'm pretty sure I paid the farmer directly." He smirked, unfazed. "Yeah, well, this is a community tax. You don't want to get on my mom's bad side. She decides who gets to feel welcome around here." I chuckled, shaking my head. "No thanks, kid. I'm good." I turned back to my car. He huffed, pulled out his phone, and stomped away, muttering about how I'd just made a huge mistake. I didn't think much of it until 10 minutes later, a local patrol car pulled up behind me, its lights flashing lazily. An officer looking weary climbed out. "Sir, can I have a word?" We received a call about a man harassing a teenager, trying to solicit money from him. I slowly straightened up, placing the apples in the trunk. I reached into my jacket, and the officer's hand instinctively drifted toward his service weapon. The moment he saw the glint of the gold shield and my federal ID, his posture changed completely. "Special Agent Thorne?" He stammered, his eyes wide. "DA, what? What are you doing here?" "Enjoying my day off, officer," I said calmly. "Now this report. Did the caller happen to be a woman named Diana Maxwell?" The officer flushed, glancing at his notepad. "Yes, sir. Diana Maxwell said her son, Cody, was approached by a suspicious individual and she feared for his safety." "Creative," I noted. "I'm guessing the market's main camera has a clear view of this entire parking lot?" "Yes, sir. It covers everything." "Good," I said, closing my trunk. "Let's pay Mrs. Maxwell a visit." I believe the Merchants Committee is having its monthly meeting right now in the community center. The community center was buzzing with the self-importance unique to small-town boards. Diana Maxwell, a woman with perfectly coiffed hair and a predatory smile, was holding court. And that's why we need stricter vetting for shoppers. "We can't have transients coming in and harassing our children," she declared. Her eyes landed on me as I walked in, and a triumphant gleam appeared. "There, officer, that's the man who threatened my son." The two other board members looked at me with open suspicion, but their expressions wavered when the uniformed officer followed me in, looking deeply uncomfortable. "Mrs. Maxwell," the officer began, his voice formal. "I'm here with Special Agent Thorne." The name didn't register, but the title did. Diana's smile faltered. "Special Agent?" "That's right," I said, stepping forward. "And your son Cody didn't report harassment?" He attempted to extort federal property. I held up the crate of produce. "This was purchased for a DEA-sponsored community outreach program, which means your son tried to shake down a federal agent for goods intended for at-risk youth. Furthermore," I continued, my voice dropping, "you then filed a false police report in an attempt to intimidate me. That's a federal offense." The room fell silent. One of the board members, a man I recognized as the local hardware store owner, looked at Diana in horror. "Diana, you called in a fake report? On a federal agent?" She sputtered, her face turning a blotchy red. "He was being aggressive." "Cody was scared!" "Cody lied," I said flatly. "And you used that lie to weaponize the police without a shred of evidence. We're pulling the market's security footage as we speak. It will show your son demanding property from me, and me refusing. What it won't show is any threat or aggression on my part." I turned to the stunned local officer. "Please take Mrs. Maxwell's official statement. I'll be forwarding my own report, along with the surveillance video and witness statements from other shoppers, to the U.S. Attorney's Office by Monday morning." The consequences were swift and severe. Faced with irrefutable video evidence, Diana Maxwell was removed from the Merchants Committee and every other board she sat on. The U.S. Attorney's Office took the case seriously, charging her with filing a false report against a federal officer. Her son, Cody, was sentenced to 100 hours of community service, specifically working at the very outreach program he'd tried to steal from. 3 months later, at Diana's sentencing, the judge was incensed. "Mrs. Maxwell, you operated under the delusion that your trivial local standing gave you authority over others. You not only taught your son that entitlement is a virtue, but you also tried to use law enforcement as your personal enforcement squad. This community is not your kingdom, and its citizens are not your subjects." Instead of jail time, the judge delivered a sentence designed for maximum humility. Diana was sentenced to 2 years of probation and 500 hours of community service. Her task, janitorial duty for all municipal buildings, including the very community center where she once reigned. The last I heard, the former queen of the farmers' market was scrubbing floors and cleaning toilets, her reign of entitled terror brought to a quiet, unceremonious end.